is a cruise called the Poop Cruise, okay? I think was in 2013. And in the Poop Cruise, it was no other than Carnival. And that's crazy because I don't want to be in a poop cruise at all. I don't want to go on a cruise that's known as the Poop Cruise.
When you think of everything that could go wrong on a cruise liner, I bet being asked to poop in a biohazard bag falls pretty low on that list. But for more than 3,000 passengers aboard the Carnival Triumph, that became a daily reality. Feces-covered walls, food fights,
Feces-covered walls. Can you imagine that?
and a sprawling tent city on the decks earned the cruise its infamous name.
And by the way, this cruise right now is still like active. And I am not getting on no Carnival cruise.
Boasts 13 decks with 4 swimming pools, 7 whirlpools, and a massive casino floor. On board.
Yo, casinos on the cruise sound fire, right? But like, let me tell you a quick story real quick. Minstinks went to the casino. I don't gamble, okay? Look at this face. I don't gamble. I don't know anything. So I went in there and I put $5 in one of the slots and I only played like 2 times and then I lost everything. And I was like, okay, well, I lost my $6. I'm never doing this ever again.
Aboard Carnival's fun ship, expectations were high. Initially, it was all plain
Bro, look at that water. Look how nice that looks. I love it.
sailing, with late-night parties, onboard entertainment, great weather, and mouth-watering buffets for the guests. After departing Cozumel for the return trip to Galveston, the cruise took a turn for the worse.
Bro, I can't imagine that. I can't, like, I feel like that's a horrible fear. Like, you're literally in the middle of the ocean on a giant ship, and then something happens. Like, you never want something to happen. It's like the same thing with airplanes. You're in the air, and then something happens. No. But you could say the same thing with a car, right? You're in a car, you're going to work, and then something I hate it.
A fire alarm echoed through the ship, with the Alpha Team call booming over the PA system shortly after 5:28 a.m. The Alpha Team announcement, the code used for a
You say you haven't been on a cruise ship in a while? I haven't been on a cruise ship when, like this was recent, right? But the last time I was on a cruise was literally when I was like 10 years old. 10. That was like forever ago. Okay, forever. So like, it's insane. And if you have never gone on a cruise ship, I hope that you can and you will. And it will be a fantastic experience. But honestly, it's scary as hell. Like, it's scary. Like, you can't think about it too much, but you're like, it is scary. But I love it. It's fantastic.
Fire emergency aboard Carnival vessels left many holiday makers panicked. In smoke-filled hallways, chaos broke out.
Bro, if I see smoke-filled hallways when I open that door, I'm going crazy.
On the top deck, black smoke was billowing.
Nah, if I see black smoke, bro, in the cruise ship in the middle of the ocean, dude, I'm losing it.
The Alpha Team alert led to panic among passengers, with some heading to evacuation stations once they heard no further information or instructions.
Facts. I'm going straight to the freaking mustard station.
Guests were left in the dark about the extent of the fire.
Folks, there's no need to be at our muster stations. We do ask at this time that you do proceed back to your staterooms, back to your cabins. As I say, there is a situation in the engine control room in the engine room, but it is under control. So we do ask that you please make your way back to
I don't care if you have it under control. I'm ready. I'm not calm until I know I'm calm, for sure.
your cabins at this time. There's no need to be waiting in the muster stations. Thank you.
After the initial announcement, the ship's lights flickered before it lost all power.
No.
Except for the emergency lights. The fire had knocked out most of the ship's power and disabled the propulsion system. But there was a plan. 2 tugboats set course for the stricken vessel to tow it to the nearest port of...
Bro, how much does a cruise ship weigh? How can you move that behemoth in the middle of the ocean?
Progreso, Mexico. Passengers breathed a sigh of relief and started taking off their life vests. Docking by Tuesday, they were told. Little did they know, another 4 days would pass before
Another 4 days? So they were on a cruise for like a week?
anyone set foot on land again. By mid-morning on Sunday, passengers realized it wasn't just the propulsion system that died. The air conditioning, running water, elevators, and, worst of all, the septic system had also failed.
The toilets have failed. The toilets have failed. It's poop everywhere. Look at that. They blurred it. It's just full of poop and pee. Ew.
We're going to deliver some red bags to your cabins, to the bathrooms.
Red bags to the bathrooms if you can. You need to do number 2 and poop. Please do it in the red bag.
Corridors, and if you need to do a number 1, that's a wee. Please do it in the shower.
Ooh, you gotta pee in the shower?
Thank you, folks, and I'll be back with any more updated info.
This announcement came when toilets were already clogged due to lack of flushing facilities in the
That's gross.
private cabins and public restrooms. The now infamous red poop bags were just too much to bear for many passengers. Toilets overflowed and spilled into halls, seeping through walls to floors each time the ship tilted with the wind.
Oh my god, so the poop was just like, there was poop water all over like the halls.
Before long, images emerged of sewage-sodden carpets, bins lined with red bags, and
okay, look, the bins lined with red bags, at least in these images, they're in the trash bag, right?
in some cases, erupting toilets. Depending on where
exploding toilets.
the drains in the bathroom were, water and fecal matter came back up, pooling in there and overflowing into the cabins. With temperatures soaring and the foul stench of human waste permeating the cabin decks, many guests dragged their mattresses to outside decks to escape the odors and sweltering heat. The news outlets...
Bro, no power, no AC, no TV, no nothing, no poop, no... Well, all the poop, yes, no lights. Dude, that's hell on earth.
were quick to react, sending helicopters out to the crippled ship. Soon, images of what would become known as Tent City flooded news channels as passengers started using bed sheets, towels, and rope to construct makeshift accommodations on the tanning deck. On the bright side, returning to the U.S. would ease re-entry for the 900 passengers traveling without passports.
Yeah, I mean, you have no passport, you screw-dado.
However, the added delay risked one passenger's life. Rachel Alderet, urgently requiring dialysis, became the first of only 2 people evacuated by the Coast Guard.
They got the Coast Guards and transferred me to another boat, another ship.
I'm pretty sure a lot of people have, medical conditions and they have to go, like, diabetes, whatever. But can you imagine she was like, you know what, I'm just gonna fake a really bad condition so I could just get the hell out of here out of desperation.
Send me to Cozumel to do dialysis on Tuesday. It was hard. It was scary. It was just scary the way they put me down. They put me in a stair rope. The Coast Guard said that don't worry about it, that they would catch me and they were going to hold me.
Basically, jump, girl. You gotta jump.
Me back, and they did. And then they transferred me to the bigger boat.
What do you think they found in the ocean that made them be like, you know what, hell no. Like, the ocean is humongous. We have more water than land in the entire world. So it's like, why don't we explore our oceans? Why don't we conquer the seas?
The following day, a second passenger was taken off the ship because of a pre-existing medical condition. Both were moved
My boy just wanted to leave.
to other Carnival ships that had diverted their courses to assist with the rescue mission. Passengers commended the crew.
Bro, look at this. Oh my god, dude, that sucks, dude. This guy is literally on his knees with his arms in the air, just desperate, desperate to leave.
Conditions on board rapidly deteriorated during that time, and food was reportedly running out. Dwindling food supplies forced passengers to queue for hours for cold onion and cucumber sandwiches.
Bro, honestly, at that point, you just use it as a way to lose weight or something. You know what you do? You go and you get like a normal amount of like cereal that they give you, like a normal amount of food, like whatever is like non-perishable. You just take it in your room and you hide it, right? And then like you just eat very little. So you know you have food, because like what happens if like they just ran out of food? Like at least you still have food in your closet or something in your room. You know what I mean? And you just sit there and you just starve a little bit. Imagine they give everybody like 2 little mini boxes of cereal, right? Because those cereal things are super small. But like you have that, you have some crackers, you have some something. Just save like half of it and just eat the rest and then just be hungry. Like you'll survive. Your body can survive a good amount of time. I think like a week, right? But water, dude. Oh, water you have to have all the time. That's insane. With water only but no food, survival time can be extended to 2 months. Being alive for days and weeks with no food and water seems inconceivable to many of us. After all, a day-long fast or even hour-long hour-long stretch. Yo, we got big bags. I haven't had food in 4 hours since I'm starving, dude. Without food and water can make us irritable and low energy. That's facts. That's insane too, right? Like your body can adapt to these ways to survive. Like it's just amazing how like your body would do that. It takes about 24 hours while eating for your body to change how it produces energy. That's fantastic. During the first 24 hours without food, your glucose storage is depleted. Your body will begin to convert glycogen from your liver and muscles to glucose. 24 hours? Bro, imagine people in Gaza Strip with no food or water. That's insane. By the second day, without food, glucose and glycogen are depleted. Your body will begin to break down muscle tissue to provide energy. So from what I understand, however, the body is designed to conserve muscle, not break it down. So this phase provides temporary energy while your metabolism is making a major shift. Okay, that's what I was about to explain. Muscle is the most important like thing like in your organs. You don't want to like take away muscle. Like it's only like when it has to take away muscle, well, it's supposed to take away like fat. So exactly, here's the next sentence, okay? To prevent excessive muscle loss, the body begins to rely on fat stores to create what the hell does that say? Ketones for energy. The process known as ketosis. Most weight loss is related to dehydration and electrolyte imbalance. Dude, okay, so they're Gucci because they were there. Okay, their ship was for 4 days or 4 nights. So they add an extra 4 days. So that's about a week. And if you were eating just fine until the power went out, you got about 4 days. You'll survive. The more fat stores available, the longer a person can typically survive during a starvation. You know what's crazy? That's crazy. So being overweight and being fat have a purpose. I can survive a long time if I'm starving, dude, out in the wild. Once the fat stores have been completely metabolized, the body reverts back to muscle to break down energy since it's the only remaining fuel source for the body. Crazy. You begin to experience severe adverse symptoms during the stage of starvation where your body is using its muscle. Crazy. Why does water intake affect survival time without food? Oh, interesting question, guys. Survival time is longer with water intake because the body has much more it reserves to replace food than fluid. Ooh, your kidney function will diminish within a few days without proper hydration. Yo, shout out to kidneys. Shout out to your kidneys. Appreciate your kidneys, all right? You need about 3 bottles of water a day to survive starvation for a longer period of time. Like, if you have no water, that's a lot of water. People can survive starvation for days or weeks. Effects of starvation may include faintingness, which, facts, if I don't eat for like 8 hours, I'm gonna start feeling lightheaded. Dizziness, cognitive changes, low blood pressure, slow heart rate, weakness, dehydration, changes in thyroid functioning. We gotta love the thyroid. Abdominal pain, electrolyte imbalance, gotta love Gatorade, Pedialyte, heart attack. You can have a heart attack? That's horrible. Organ failure. How long can you go without eating? Based on the events when people have been trapped or buried, oh my god. Oh my god, trapped or buried suggests you can survive without food between 8 to 21 days. In 1981, hunger strikers in the Maze prison died after 45 to 60 days with not eating food. Oh my god. So the people on the poop cruise, they would have been fine. They probably lost about 5 pounds.
One passenger described scenes reminiscent of the Hunger Games as fights erupted over dwindling provisions. By Thursday, the mood aboard seemed to get a little lighter after the food drop and the arrival of a generator that promised
Bruh, they got them food, man. No one's starving on this ship.
the luxury of hot meals. By this time, sanitary facilities were restored to parts of the ship, and passengers had access to power outlets to
Look at my boys' dogs, dude. Look at all these people's dogs. Ew.
charge their cell phones. For many passengers, staying in contact with loved ones had been a battle. In Mobile, worried family and friends gathered at the port, anxiously awaiting the first glimpses of the triumph and their loved ones.
She said it was terrible. She said, Mama, when everybody get off this bus, everyone's probably gonna have a little psychological help.
The truth, what happens when a guest jumps off the cruise ship?
In an average year, around 25 people will fall overboard from cruise ships.
Why? Why are people falling over on cruise ships? For what reason?
That might sound like a lot, but given the almost 30 million people that cruise per year, if you're taking a cruise, your chances of falling overboard are less than 1 in a million.
Okay, but like, whose dude is falling over a cruise, bro?
It does happen though, so cruise lines have to have processes in place to deal with it.
Once you're on a cruise and you fall off, especially at night, they ain't finding you. They are not finding you. There is no way they're gonna find you.
It was around 3 a.m. that we were woken up
My boy, 3 a.m. falling off a cruise.
by the captain making an announcement into all of the cabins and all of the public areas on board the ship. The announcement initially just said, "Oscar, Oscar, man overboard." It definitely isn't normal for a captain.
What if someone doesn't see you though? Like, what if you're just like, you just fall off the ship and no one sees you? You're dead. You're gone. You're a sucker. In the middle of the ocean.
Many cruise ships do have detectors that show if somebody has fallen overboard automatically. The Norwegian Sky didn't have any detectors like that, but fellow
Norwegian Sky doesn't have the I ain't going on Norwegian Sky.
guests did see him fall overboard. We found out later who that was and what had happened that led up to the man falling over.
Okay, what happened to the man that fell overboard? My guess. He was drinking, he went on a rail, and then he slipped, and then he fell over. That's my guess.
We were sailing to the Bahamas from Miami at the time. We were only taking
Aruba, Jamaica, ooh, I wanna take ya. Bermuda, Bahama, come on, pretty mama. Key Largo, Montego.
a really short cruise, so there were 4 of us in an inside cabin.
No, look
to
at that, bro. Look at that. Pretty.
us in an inside cabin. The chances of being found alive after falling off a cruise ship are around 25%. We knew that the fact that he had fallen off at night made it less likely. The chances of finding him were slim, but not impossible. In 2008, a woman fell overboard from a cruise near Croatia, and she was in the water for 10 hours before she was rescued. This isn't a normal...
Oh my god, 10 hours in the water?
It was around 3 p.m. the next day that Norwegian decided to call off the search. We'd been searching for around 12 hours at that point with all of the other ships, and at some point the cruise line has to move on with its schedule, even if the person hasn't been found.
Oh my god.
Man involved was 39 years old, and by all accounts he had had quite a lot to drink when he went overboard.
I told you.
It was his girlfriend and his brother who actually saw him go overboard and raised the alarm.
I was on a Carnival cruise for the Bahamas 5 years ago, and a man got into a fight with his wife and jumped off his balcony. The people in the room next to him heard him scream to her, threatened to jump. We spent 8 hours sitting in the middle of the ocean before we could proceed. There was 3 other ships circling us. The craziest thing, the couple were on their honeymoon. Oh my goodness. Generally speaking, when someone's been drinking and they fall overboard, it's usually because they were trying to sit on the railing or climb something they wouldn't have done sober. Absolutely. You can't sit on a railing. I don't even lean on the railing on the ship. Absolutely not. Oh, look, surviving a fall off a cruise ship.
If you fall off of a cruise ship, you could hit at 40 miles per hour, quickly submerging you deep into the water.
That's it. KO. Done.
But if you manage to make it back up, the ship will most likely be too far away, making it almost impossible to be seen. Now, if someone saw you fall, they will stop the ship, but these rescue efforts can take a long time, so you'll have to wait in the ocean for hours, if they find you at all.
I will lose my mind. Cruise when you fall, Running Man. Cruise when you come back, Snail. Facts. Oh my god. Look at this guy right here with the phone. He's taking with a selfie. Look at him with the phone with the chancleta. Mira. He bumps into this girl. The girl's like, yo, hold the fuck up. He bumps into her. Still with the phone out. That chair comes out of nowhere. It slams. The boy almost passes away. Okay, the boy's not there. It's just the little... Oh my god, imagine there was a kid in there, yo. Insane. The guy taking the selfie saved the lady and the child's life. When I counted the steps they could have took before bumping with him. Oh god. That's actually true, but she was like all the way over here.